Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wa kafa, wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Allah Azza wa Jal created this earth and He created us. Ya ayyuhan nasu u'budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum walladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O people, worship Allah, worship your Lord who created you and those before you, that you may be protected from the punishment of the hereafter, that you may become muttaqeen. Alladhi ja'ala lakum al-arda firasha, He who made for you the ground a carpet, was-samaa'a binaa'a, and the sky a roof, wa anzala minas samaa'i maa'a, and He sent down from the sky water. Fa akhraja bihi min ath-thamarati rizqan lakum, then He took out from the earth for you from the fruits for your sustenance. فَلَا تَدْعُوا مِن دُونِ فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. So do not appoint for Allah equivalents, and you know. These are verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, and in them Allah Azza wa Jal has invited us to His worship, and then Allah Ta'ala has described Himself, that He is our Rabb and Lord, the one who physically and spiritually has created us and nourishes and maintains us and looks after us, keeps us in our existence, and that He created us, He's our Khaliq, and those before us, and that He created everything around us, the earth beneath our feet, the sky above our heads, the water that comes down, and the whole system of sustenance, of nourishment which is created for us. How this earth is full of goodness, مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ, for your service, for your benefit, and for your animals, any livestock that you keep, to raise them, to graze them. So the seeds and the vegetables and the berries and the fruit and the nuts, and as a consequence of this nourishment, the pastures, the dairy, the eggs, the meat, the yogurt, the cheese, the fish in the sea. Allah Azza wa Jal has made this earth a source of sustenance and nourishment for us too. He's created it such, within it there are pathways. فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا, walk amongst its mountains. وَكُلُوا مِن رِزْقِهِ, and eat from its rizq and sustenance. He's made the earth such that we can walk on it. And for our reminder, He's made parts of the earth very hard and difficult, very difficult terrain to pass over, to cross, to traverse, and many parts, many soft, very soft, marshy, quagmire, bogs where you would sink, and in between those two we have huge regions which we can walk over, which we can ride over, which we can travel over. And He's placed within this earth the materials that we need for building shelters for ourselves, houses and homes, buildings for individual and communal gatherings. So within this environment, He hasn't left us to our own affairs to find out answers for ourselves to the deeper questions. Even with reference to this existence, this worldly existence, Allah Azza wa Jal taught Adam alayhi salatu wassalam the necessary knowledge, not just relating to the hereafter and to deen and worship, but also relating to the dunya. And early prophets were taught the husbandry of land, and how to plough the land and plant seeds, and how to harvest those crops, and how to read and write and use a pen, and how to measure and how to do calculations, how to weigh, how to navigate using the stars. Early Anbiya were taught this knowledge so that people would know how to live on earth and benefit from its bounties. But it didn't stop there. The deeper questions: why are we here? Where did we come from? What are we to do? Where are we going? We are very quickly preoccupied with these material comforts, and the consequence is that we forget the deeper questions. And the consequence of this is that when there's a loss of the things which we attach ourselves to in this dunya, whether it's the material things of this dunya or indeed other people, precious as they may be, when those things are taken from us, when we are parted, then the human being is left in a type of wilderness, a spiritual and emotional wilderness, darkness of confusion, and the question: why? What happened? And it's not because any human being rejects or denies the fact that these things will and can happen. It's not because anybody claims that there is any permanence in this dunya. Even the natural terrain constantly changes. Cliffs crumble and crash into the sea. Water levels rise and fall. Rivers become dry, new ones are created. All sorts of changes happen in this world. And as for human beings, they don't live forever. They're not eternal. They are mortal. They come and they go. We are born, we live, we die. We will be resurrected. So this deeper question of what will happen, what are we here? What are we doing? What are we meant to be doing? This is the subject of so many different contexts, discussions in so many different contexts. In the careers world, you'll have any number of career gurus presenting people with inspirational talks so that they can re-evaluate their direction, reset the compass in terms of where they are in life and what they want to achieve. More freedom, more time, more ability to enjoy, to focus on family and relationships, to travel, to enjoy life. The so-called midlife crisis, where people get to a stage in life where they suddenly realize they've had enough of the same sort of rat race, and now they want to make a directional change, make some new choices. So all this is because of this deeper question inside the hearts and minds of people. Why are we here? What are we doing? You often see examples of people who do well in their careers, but then suddenly realize that it's not enough to satisfy the human spirit and soul. You have everything you need. So people get to a stage where they have their family, they have their job, they have their own properties, they have enough to get by, and suddenly they realize this isn't enough. There's a big gap in their life. So they just start searching, and more often than not, people get involved in what? In welfare work, in charity, because they feel that the idea of giving something which is material or emotional or even physical effort and time is enriching beyond the enrichment that you can possibly achieve through the acquisition of material wealth and status and name and fame. So people search further because there's something else, and then one's mortality faces one in one's face. So then the search and the quest for longevity and long-term and eternal health and youth. But these questions remain open, and our deen gives us the answers, and it gives us an invitation to reflect. And so for this, towards this end, Allah Azza wa Jal didn't just equip us with our food and drink and our clothing, the needs. Allah Ta'ala mentions our clothing in the Quran in many different contexts, how He sent it down from the heavens. The Mufassirin say that this is referring to how the rain causes crops such as cotton plants to grow, and then we harvest those crops, and then we weave, the spin the yarn and weave the cloth, and it's stitched together, and lo and behold, you have your shirt, your jacket, your item of clothing. So this is a ni'mah from Allah. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ لِبَاسًا يُوَارِي سَوْآتِكُمْ, to cover you, warisha, and for adornment. The Quran mentions that your clothing is a protection from the elements. It's for covering your modesty, it's for your beautification, and it's also for your physical protection. Helmets and gauntlets and armor, whether it's used in battle or in industry. These are ni'mats from Allah mentioned in the Quran. Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam would make and sell armor with his hands. So the ni'mats of the physical needs, relating to the physical needs in this dunya, have been put around us, before us. We've been given the ingenuity, the dexterity, the manual skills with our hands, the mental ability to calculate, to engineer, to construct, to design. All ni'mats from Allah, to be carried across land and sea. وَحَمَلْنَاكُمْ فِي الْبَحْرِ وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. So these abilities have been, and these materials, these resources have been given to us, but it didn't stop there. The Almighty sent Anbiya alayhimus salatu wasalam, prophets, and He revealed books, and these books and these prophets gave us, the prophets gave us a practical embodiment, an example of how to live, and the books revealed guidance and focus. And so it's like the your sense, this identity crisis of who am I and what am I here for. You could relate this to where your phone or your sat-nav, when it loses the signal, what does it need? It needs to be able to relate, correlate. So what does it do? Your sat-nav connects to more than one, multiple satellite signals, and then it does a calculation, relevant to those, in which it can understand where you are and where you are heading and what direction and speed you need to take and the best route for that. And that's what our hearts are meant to do. We need to know who we are and where we are going. Both questions. What am I? Who am I? And what am I here for? What is my destination? If you have no fixed destination, then you won't get anywhere naturally. You need to have a destination, a goal, a direction to get there. And if you don't, then that's exactly the definition of lost. And in Arabic this is known as dalala, dallin, a person who's lost his way. And the Anbiya come to guide such people who are in the wilderness of this dunya. And there's the physical darkness of the night, but there's the spiritual darkness of the night of this misguidance, where a person doesn't know what they're here for. And so in these coming days and nights, when people are likely, often huge numbers of people will have a large amount of surplus time perhaps, or to be working from home, there may not be as much opportunity to get out and about as people would normally at this time of the year. And so once again, these moments, precious moments of our life, are an opportunity to dwell into these questions, to delve into them, and to find the answers, and to gain recognition, ma'rifah, of the Master, and to prepare for the big meeting which will happen with Him. We have not been created in this dunya without a purpose. أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. Do you think we created you in play? Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ, and that you won't be returned to us. فَتَعَالَ اللَّهُ الْمَلِكُ الْحَقِّ. Allah Ta'ala is above and beyond such play. He is the King, He is true, Al-Haqq. His reality, His existence is established. Subhanallah, فَتَعَالَ اللَّهُ الْمَلِكُ الْحَقِّ. Subhanallah, and Allah Ta'ala mentions that He is the Rabb of the Arsh, the noble Arsh. So the point here is that these free moments are not really free, they're precious opportunities. And so may Allah Azza wa Jal grant us tawfiq to benefit from them fully. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. तो बहुत ही इख्तिसार के साथ इंसान को जब गौर करने का मौका मिलता है तो उसके दिल में ये सवाल उठता है कि मेरी मंजिल क्या है, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं दुनिया में क्यों आया, मुझे कहाँ जाना है, मुझे क्यों पैदा किया गया, ये वजूद मुझे क्यों अता किया गया, मुझे क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना. तो इसी को उलमा मशाइख अकाबिर फरमाते हैं कि मन आरफ़ नफ्सहु फ़क़द आरफ़ रब्बहु. जिसने अपने आप की मारिफत, अपने आप को पहचान लिया, अपने आप को जान लिया, जांच लिया, उसने अपने रब को भी पहचान लिया. तो ये सवाल, और ये सवाल इंसान इस दुनिया की खेल, इसकी रंग व बू में, इसके तमाशों में, इसकी गमी खुशी में इंसान अपनी पूरी ज़िंदगी गुजार देता है. और اس کو اس اہم سوال پر غور کرنے کا موقع تک نہیں ملتا، حتیٰ کہ اس کی پوری زندگی گزر جاتی ہے اور پھر موت کے دروازے پر پہنچ جاتا ہے، قبر کے کنارے تک پہنچ جاتا ہے. یا پھر یہ کہ بسا اوقات ایسا ہوتا ہے کہ انسان کو جھنجھوڑا جاتا ہے، اس پر کوئی مصیبت آ جاتی ہے، جیسے بیماری یا فقر یا کوئی اور پریشانی، یا اس کے اعزاء میں سے کسی کا انتقال، اس کے قریبی متعلقین میں سے کسی کا وصال، تو اس وقت پھر وہ غور کرنے پر مجبور ہو جاتا ہے اور سوچنے لگتا ہے. میں نے دیکھا کہ بہت سارے لوگ، جنازے تو ہم روز دیکھتے ہیں، اٹھ رہے ہیں جنازے، مگر جب کسی قریبی کا انتقال ہوتا ہے، مثلا کسی کی والدہ کا انتقال ہو گیا، کسی کے والد کا انتقال ہو گیا، تو پھر وہ سوچنے لگتے ہیں کہ وہ کہاں ہوں گے، ان کا کیا حال ہوگا. تو پھر ان کو جستجو ہوتی ہے، وہ پوچھنا شروع کرتے ہیں. مجھے یاد ہے ایک مریض کے پاس بیٹھا تھا، تو ان کو ڈاکٹر نے جواب دیا ہوا اور ان کو یہ امید نہیں تھی کہ جئیں گے، تو خود پوچھنے لگے مجھے بتاؤ کہ آگے کیا ہوگا. ان کو دلچسپی ہوئی کہ جب میری روح نکلے گی تو کیسے نکلے گی، اور پھر اس کے بعد کیا کیا مناظر ہوں گے، قبر میں کیا ہوگا، پھر اس سے آگے کیا ہونے والا ہے. تو ان کی چیزوں کی عجیب و غریب حقیقتیں اس وقت کھلیں گی جب ہماری یہ ظاہری آنکھیں بند ہوں گی، تو ہماری حقیقت کی آنکھ، اندر کی آنکھ کھلے گی. لیکن قرآن اور حدیث میں ان چیزوں کو سمجھایا گیا ہے، بتلایا گیا ہے، تو ان کی روشنی میں ہمیں معلوم ہو سکتا ہے کہ یہ سفر کیسے طے ہونا ہے، اس میں کیا کیا عجیب و غریب مراحل، کن منازل سے گزرنا ہے. تو یہ جو لاک ڈاؤن کے ایام ہیں، جن میں لوگ اپنے خانہ میں، اپنے گھر میں اہل خانہ کے ساتھ ایک قسم کے محبوس ہیں، تو یہ ایک غنیمت ہے جس میں انسان اپنی حقیقت کو سمجھے، سوچے اور اپنی ان قیمتی گھڑیوں کو وصول کرے اور اللہ کے تقرب کی فکر کرے کہ مجھے اللہ کا قرب کیسے حاصل ہو سکتا ہے، میں کیسے اپنے مالک کو منا لوں اور راضی کر لوں. اللہ تعالیٰ ہمیں توفیق عطا فرمائے. وآخر دعوانا الحمد للہ رب العالمین، وصلی اللہ تعالی علی خیر خلقی سیدنا محمد وآلہ وصحبہ.